All right, the conversation right here on Good Morning Kenya continues, and now right on this buffet we serve yet another serving of the saving dynamics. That is what we are focusing on right about now. My name is Mike Migo, and in studio I'm joined by Elizabeth Nkuku, who is a seasoned finance and investment professional. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing this morning?
Super, I'm doing great.
Yes. Now, let's start from a statistical kind of a context. The national saving rate stood at 12%, which is 5% lower than the continental rate, which is 17%. And we are talking about the saving dynamics. What do you think is contributing to this decline?
So thank you so much for that great question. And as a country, when you think about how we have been brought up,
yes,
how we have been educated in the past, it has largely been about go to school, make money, use the money, and live.
Yeah.
And I think with the current social media, almost like push, doesn't make it better for anyone. So I honestly think that the savings conversation, there are two things to it. One of them is the education background. Financial literacy doesn't come naturally for most people. Yet, when you go to the basic of it, and I keep using my mother as an example when I talk about savings investments, they had a way of making things work out, but not in the context of formal savings. They knew that I am going to this potato is going to go to XYZ goal. And this is going to, so they used to plan their lives in a very different way. In a country whereby we are still very rural in a way, that still comes in, but you never get those statistics really recorded anywhere. There could be savings, but the savings is in a different manner. But now for the educated people, financial literacy took a backseat. We learned compound interests for mathematics passing, not that it can change your life, not that it can be used to change your investments. So those are some of the things. And now if you look at the other little attribution would be just the fact that the employment rate is not that. There's a couple of people who are not employed, not making a gainful income, and that could have contributed to that rate. Yes.
Now, you know, saving should be a culture, actually. But then again, what should be the main determinants of it?
The biggest determinant of savings is the amount of income that you make. That's the first part, because you can't save that which you don't have. But the second thing is, how do you make sure that you automatically save without thinking? So for most of us who are employed, we actually have the money come to our account, and then we decide how do we distribute it. However, if in situations that happens, the moment the money lands into your account and you have to start thinking about what happens, we end up doing everything else other than saving. So how can we then go back and correct it? One of the things that we can do is actually savings at source. So that if, for example, you are salaried, can you be able to put a standing order? Can your cash for savings be deducted at source? I think when you think about the people who are members of a SACCO, they never debate whether that money goes to a SACCO or not. It has to go whether you have any emergency coming in. That money has gone. So the right rule is at least you need to take 10%, at least 10% of your income, put a standing order and let it go to either a savings account. And I would like us to maybe move it even further, savings, and then we go to investment. Because saving alone is not enough. Because yes, it gives you it gives you the discipline, but doesn't make your money work for you. So if you put your savings in a savings bank account, you earn 3-4%. That is not even, it's actually inflation. You're just making your money remain at the same level. What happens when inflation gets to 7? You're actually losing money while saving. So we need to get into a culture of what are the right investment options that we need to. That way, you actually feel nice that, you know, I was investing and I got some money. I don't know whether you have ever met someone who has just received dividend from their SACCO. They feel like elated and they want to save more.
I've met some.
Yeah, so success, you see, those little successes makes you even want to save more. So those are some of the things that we need to incorporate, that saving is important, but let me make my money work for me.
So you can save to invest.
The first step is save and then invest. Yes.
What are these, the best investment options? Let's say if you're saving just to, say, start an investment.
Yeah.
Where should someone start?
The starting point is things that you don't have to exercise your mind too much. You're not taking too much risk. So the best investments would be things like the pooled funds, the money market funds. And the reason why I believe that the money market fund is somewhere to start for anyone who is starting out is because you get to learn a lot. If, for example, you started your initial investments in crypto or Bitcoin, you might not understand the logic, the behind scene. But the beauty about the pooled funds, you are in a pool of many people, it's professionally managed, and you don't require a lot to start. So you learn as you go, even as you get to more sophistication. Yes.
You know, one of the things that is rampant within the country is the aspect of, especially with the ladies coming together for chamas, then there are circles. Are there advantages to chamas as a saving option as opposed to circles?
The answer is, when you think about a chama, it has two things. It's the financial and the social. Remember, we are social beings.
Yes.
And that maybe gives us the reason for being, the reason for belonging. So there is a bit that chama gives, there's a bit that, or the void that it fills in our hearts that the chama can't. And when you think about investment, not everything is return related. There are things that you do because they're important to you. They might not make a return consideration. I'll give you an example. When you're looking at owning a home, do you look at owning a home as necessarily the rate of return that you get from that? The answer is no. Most of the time you'll own a home in a place that you like, even if it makes no commercial sense.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing with the chama. There are things that you will still remain in the chama because that is where you get fulfilling, that's where you share. But the question is, you can actually convert chamas to a great investment. We have seen different individuals do that. They invest together, they put money together, and then together they come and say, what do you want to achieve? Do we come up with the investment policy statement? What will we do when this money gets here? Then how do we multiply it? So it's not one or the other. They can actually coexist because the same chama can actually put money in the circle, can put money in the money market fund, can put money in land, and any business. Yes, so it's really an issue of how do we mix. So understanding the why are we coming together is key, is very important. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about savings, then investments, but all that kind of falls under the umbrella of financial literacy.
Yes.
Now, so far, what are the best strategies to enhance financial literacy, especially in rural areas of the country?
So, first of all, I want to start by saying financial literacy for most of us, we must do the work. We were not taught in school, so we must be willing to do the work. There is, however, people who are not even lucky to go to school. So they might not even know where to do their work from. So what I've seen, the government has also put in place a couple of institutions that help with finances, running institutions. If you think about some of the big institutions that all give funds from the government side, talk about the youth fund, talk about MCR, the regulator of MSMEs, talk about the Hustler Fund, talk about all those funds. One of their mandates is really capacity building. So the question is, how do we make sure that we sensitize our people to know that the government actually has options that you can actually go and learn from? So I think it's really partnering with the people within in the ground so that they know the help is there and actually can be accessed. And then we actually ask for it. Yes.
Is it possible to have a higher saving rate in the country, but given the economic times, but lower financial literacy?
I think you cannot have a significant. So let me take a step back. You cannot have a lot of money if your knowledge is low. You get, so they have to come together because knowledge is the ability to make informed decisions, and it doesn't have to be textbook knowledge. There is just, again, I go back to the rural areas where people really invested and did things in a certain way, whether they went to school or not. I come from the Maasai community.
Yes,
those people invested in cows, in goats. Yeah, and they did it very well. For those who cared about building a legacy, they did. They necessarily didn't have to have formal education. So the thing is, when people are sold for a purpose, they will be able to save towards that. They will be able to educate themselves. So you cannot have a high savings rate without and showing people this is their why. Most people care about their why. So we need to show people the why and the how so that they can be able to increase their savings and investment.
So saving must have a goal. You're not just saving for the sake of saving.
Yes. You can even be saving so that you're not poor. I'm just putting it as, but you have to have a drive so that at least even when someone comes and tells you, give me this money, you have a reason to say no.
Yes.
Yes. So it's very, very important for us to understand what are our goals. And we have, even if we don't document them, we need to segment them somehow.
Yes.
They have to be ingrained in our minds.
Yes.
Yes.
But also we have to let them know that saving is not an investment.
Saving is not an investment. Saving is a culture to help you with the investment.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, there's in finance, there's the 72nd rule in finance. Maybe you can talk about it. What is it and what it entails?
So before I get to the 70, I want to take you back to compound interest.
Yes.
And simple interest.
Yes.
You remember us being told this is how 1 plus I raised to the power of whatever, that's the income that you're going to get.
Yes.
And if you wanted to know how much you will be worth a year from today, this is how you can bring it to the present value today.
Yeah.
So that is the base of the 72 rule. So what it means is that how long will it take for you to double your money? So if, for example, I have 100 shillings, what rate of, with the next rate of return, so let's even take 10% rate of return, how long will it take it for me to double it? So if, for example, it's 100 shillings, I will double it and I'm earning 10%, it will take me 7 years to double that money. So it just needs to show you that I need to save more, I need to earn higher so that I can double my money a little bit more, faster. The same case when it comes to expenses. If I have the expenses that, if I have this pot that I have left with my kids,
yes, if
it's not growing, how long will it take for them to deplete it?
Yes.
So again, if they're taking it at a rate of 10%, in 7 years they'll be broke. So if they need to know today that how long will it take me to get either financially ruined or how long it will take me to multiply my money. So let me bring it back home. How can we use it today?
Exactly.
I am earning 50,000 shillings. If I'm earning 50,000 shillings, I say that I will be saving 10% of that income anytime. That is 5,000 every month. So the compounding effect means that every month I'm putting 5,000, and that 5,000 is actually earning 10%. So as I save, if I save 5,000 in January, the value of that 5,000 at the end of the year will be an extra 10%. Yeah?
Yes.
That is 5,050 shillings,
yes,
right? If I continue doing that, then I will compound that money in a very short period of time. So you need to understand that I need to start today with my 5,000, put a standing order, and I'm really saying a standing order because the moment you don't put a standing order, imagine we shall call you and we shall go have sherehe, and that 5,000 is gone anyway. So you'll end up at the same position.
Yes.
So it's better you put a standing order so we don't have to call you. When you call you, we'll tell you, I don't have money.
Yes.
Yeah. So put that 5,000, put a standing order every month, and let it grow. Yes.
Nice. Now, you know, we are living in a technologically advanced age where we have financial tools and technology. My question here would be the aspect of mobile banking. How do you think has impacted the aspect of saving within the country?
I go back to financial literacy. Sorry, I'll keep bringing it back there.
Yes.
One of the things that has done very well is actually digital financing, fintech. It has made our lives very easy. I can't remember the last time I was in the banking hall. Things just flow. So that makes it very easy for me to invest my money and to actually withdraw my money. So I have to be very disciplined so that I don't take that money that was meant for investments for my consumption. So we need to make sure that people are able to create systems around themselves that can help. What has happened in the investment industry, people are actually allowed to guard against themselves. What I mean by that is that once I put this 50,000 here, I can actually tell my fund manager, please don't allow me to take this money until 6 months are over. So they'll put what is called a guard. So that helps you. So technology is good, but if you can't help yourself, technology can also help you help yourself. That's on one end. On the other end, digital or fintech has made it very easy for us to take loans. We would be seated somewhere and we just say, let me just try. Actually, I would maybe explaining to you. There's a guy I always meet at Parklands.
Yes.
We always talk about Hustler Fund. He's like, and he's always telling everybody, have you taken money from the Hustler Fund? So it becomes very easy for you to get lured into such conversation.
Yes.
So we need to be sure that this money that I'm taking, what am I doing with it? Because it's not free. And by the time you are dialing to take that money, let it not be for consumption. Occasionally, most of the time, we take that money maybe when we are not in a very good state of mind. So we end up using that money not in the right way.
Yes.
So it has made it easy, but let's catch ourselves so that it becomes, we don't push ourselves into that ditch. And I would like, again, before we even get out of that, do you know how expensive it is to borrow from the digital loans? On average, it's 7% per month. I was looking at, if it's 7% per month, multiply that by 12.
Wow.
That is expensive. You cannot get a return. No business will give you that kind of return, I can tell you.
Yes.
So even as we get into the digital loans, it is convenient, but at what cost are we robbing our future? So we need to be very careful about it.
Has it enhanced financial discipline in any way?
It has not enhanced. It has enhanced financial convenience, but made it worse in terms of financial discipline and in terms of ability to save for our future. Yes.
You know, there are people who use informal saving methods. Money under the mattress, you know, pesa unaeka mahali. Should this be discouraged?
Completely, because it's not growing. If you put 100,000 under your mattress, you'll be lucky if there's no fire, if you live in a place where it can catch fire, and you'll be lucky that you just have the 100,000, isn't it? Whereas you can just walk into a bank, walk into a fund manager, and you put that money. If you don't need it for a year, you put 100,000, you'll have an extra 10,000 at the end of the year. That's something which you can do something with it.
Is there disparity, or are there difference in terms of saving habits between demographics, the young people and adults?
Yes, the way we view money is very different. The older generation would want a lot of a lot of security. They want to associate money with security. The young people look at it in terms of options. So that way, they will invest and put their money in to give them more and more options. Yes.
So there's some sense of there are people who look for instant gratification with money as opposed to saving. All right. You know, this is a conversation that keeps on continuing. But then again, who is supposed to carry out this financial literacy?
I think it's the role of different stakeholders. And by stakeholders is if you're making money out of making money from others, then it's your role.
Yes.
So the banking sector, the MFIs, the churches need to, it's important. I keep saying you cannot be a good church person if you're not good with money. Because how do you tithe if you have no money? So we need to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we're looking at holistically. It is you cannot be a good mother if you have no money. So family comes in. So when it comes to money, it's the role of all of us, in as much as we want to learn from, to shift the blame to someone else, it starts with us very closely. Then when it comes to now the national conversation, the government has a role and actually has put in structures to be able to train people. So it is very, very important that we see that way. And the government is putting in, but the question is, are you ready to be helped? So we need to also get out there and say, I am here and I need this support.
Indeed. Thank you so much for making time to come and talk about matters to do with the saving dynamics. And the question posed here is, are you ready to be helped? Thank you so much. That is Elizabeth Nkuku, who is a seasoned finance and investment professional, speaking to us about saving dynamics within the country. This is where this conversation ends. But don't go too far. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly. We are looking at the special needs education. Stay with us.